I literally have so much to say about this. So let's just do it. Let's just do it. I in no way think that the marriage between Jane Parker and George Boleyn was a happy one. I have never, and I'm saying this as someone who has literally downloaded the accounts, the financial accounts of Henry VIII from every fucking year and gone through them. I don't think that there is any evidence that George Boleyn and Jane Parker were a happy marriage. And there's a few reasons for this. Jane Parker's family were kind of like they were flip-floppers, but they were also like a part of the old establishment. And it was an arranged marriage. Like Jane Parker, I think her father was like Lord Who or something. Had a lot of political power, but they were not in any way in the same kind of bracket as the Boleyns. And what I mean when I say they're not in the same brackets as the Boleyn family was very progressive, right? Like they sent their daughters off and they like had them educated in courts, but not just educated in like sewing and tempting kings. They were intelligent women. They could read, they could write, they could talk about politics, they could talk about history, they could sing, they could dance, they could sew, they could like compose for multiple instruments. Jane Parker, in every respect, when you throw her into the league of the Boleyns, was out of her depth. And she was just not of the same caliber. She didn't come from the same family that had the same beliefs. And so I truly believe that the marriage between Jane Parker and George Boleyn was totally mismatched one and super unhappy. Which would make sense when you see how she ended up betraying them in the craziest of ways. When you see how Philippa Gregory has kind of twisted some of this stuff into like Jane Parker making like crazy accusations, I don't believe in any of that. But I do believe that Jane Parker was completely out of her depth. I believe she was intimidated, and I believe that she basically couldn't keep step with what was going on with the Boleyn family, because you're talking about not only super educated and charismatic women, you're talking about George Boleyn, who was super educated and charismatic as well. I think Jane Parker, who didn't come from that same kind of family, was out of her depth. And I think that there would have just been some natural jealousy and intimidation there. And she also just didn't come from the same kind of humanist commitment that George and his sister Anne had. So I think it was a completely, probably miserable marriage. And I think it was one of the biggest mistakes that the Boleyn family made. And I honestly think George deserved better.